We're back. Welcome to the 5-Year Millionaire podcast. And this episode is part 3 of a 3-part series. I think it's only going to be 3 parts, unless I think of a reason to make a 4th one, but a 3-part series about advanced options. So if you didn't listen to part 1, where we dove into why advanced options are important to learn, how you can use 2 or more options to alleviate some of the headache of worrying about if a stock's going up or down. If you have to stay in front of a computer all day, if you work a job, it alleviates a lot of the normal headaches that comes with trading. And then in episode 2, we dove into some specific type of advanced option strategies that you can use and how they can benefit your trade, and walked you through the pros and the cons of using 2 or more option strategies. Today, I want to talk to you about some of the biggest mistakes, or at least 5 mistakes that I see that new traders or people just not really familiar with advanced options make. Or maybe you're familiar with advanced options, but fear and greed creeps in and you start to make some simple mistakes. And I'm not sitting here on my high horse and this is the problem that you guys have. I know, because I've either made some of these mistakes, or sometimes I still make these mistakes. I'm still human. Even if you become a power trader or a profitable trader, it doesn't mean you're inhumane. It doesn't mean you still aren't tempted to go for some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about. So let's talk about the number one biggest mistake that most advanced options traders make. Pretty much option traders in general make this mistake, but especially advanced option traders, is buying the wrong amount of time. So when you're using options, time can either be used in your favor or time can be used against you. Meaning, if you're buying an option and a stock is not moving in the direction that you think it's going to move in, well, every day that it's not moving in that direction, time is working against you. And so when you're doing an advanced option strategy, or any option strategy for that matter, it's important to take into effect how much time you think is going to take for the stock to do what you think it's going to do. And I usually tell our students that they need to double that time. So if you are doing a bull call spread, meaning you buy a call option and then you sell an out of the money call option, and you're hoping the stock moves up and moves up past the option that you sold to where you get to keep that premium and you get called out, and you also get paid a second time because of the option that you own. A lot of times we may pick such a short time frame that the stock doesn't move up as fast or far enough in the amount of time that we've picked. And what happens is sometimes we either panic and we close out our trade at a loss, or we close it out at break even because we think we're going to run out of time. And then the stock then turns around and does what we thought it was going to do, but we didn't have enough time to sit through maybe some ups and downs in the market, or it ran up and we made a little bit of money, but it didn't run up as far as we like it to run and get called out. And it would have had you just extended or bought enough time on your option trade. So that's one of the mistakes that I see option traders make, or advanced option strategies when they get deployed. It's just not using the right amount of time. Now, the flip side of that works as well when you're doing an advanced option. If you are selling a spread, maybe you're selling a credit spread where you actually get paid up front. So if you're not familiar with credit spreads and debit spreads, we walk through all of that in our advanced options course. But that's a strategy where you say, hey, I am going to get paid for taking on this trade, meaning you're not putting money out, they're putting money in your account. And so when you do these credit spreads, you're getting a credit, money's coming in. I like to do those credit spreads on a shorter amount of time versus if I'm buying a debit spread, I need more time to make sure the stock is going to do what I think it's going to do. But when I'm doing a credit spread, I actually like to do that on a shorter amount of time, because on those credit spreads, maybe I do them for 5 days or 2 weeks out. Because if the stock goes sideways or stays flat or just doesn't do much in the next 5 days up to 14 days, then I get to keep all that money. And so I don't want to give it a lot of time for it to move against me. I kind of like shortening the pot to where it's like, I didn't do much all week, but that's fine. I got a credit and I get to keep all of that credit or money that came into my account at the end of the week. So, big picture, buying or selling the wrong amount of time, depending on the strategy, is one of the mistakes that I see option traders make, as well as advanced options traders make when they're trying to pair two or more options together. The second mistake that I see that option traders make, and so maybe they're found the right option in the right amount of time frame, they found the right stock. But the second mistake is mismatching the order flow. And this is a big one. See, mismatching the order flow, meaning you meant to buy to open, but you make a mistake and sell to open an option. And then when you go to do the second option, because again, an advanced option strategy, you're using two or more options. Then you go to do the second one and you meant to sell to open that one and you buy to open that one. And so you kind of mismatch the order flow. And so people hear about these advanced option strategies and it's like, oh, I'm going to leave a podcast like this or a YouTube video like this and go do them. Then they get inside their brokerage account and they're like, wait a minute, which one am I buying the open? Am I selling the open? And that's just entering the trade. So if you get that wrong, which full disclosure, that's happened to me, I would probably say, okay, I'd probably say that has happened to me once, maybe twice, but for sure once, because I was just so excited. I had a lot on my mind. I remember placing an advanced option trade, and then I think I did a bear put spread, meaning I got paid upfront for selling two put options or buying a put option, selling one. I got a credit spread, and the stock started going up. And so as it's moving up, I should have been making like I did a bear put credit spread. And so as the stock was moving up, I should have been keeping more of the premium, more of the money should like my account should have been going up. But it was like going up and I was like losing money. And I was like, oh my goodness, what did I just like? Why is it not moving up? And then I looked at it and it's like sold the closer one and bought the further out one. Like I somehow mismatched the two. And so the one that was supposed to give me a credit, I think I bought that one instead of selling it, and then I sold the other one, and so I was losing. I had paid more money, so instead of it being a credit spread, I think it ended up being like a debit spread, so I was in the wrong type of trade just because I mismatched the buy to open and the sell to open. And same thing happens on the exit side. Some traders will get in and then trying to get out, they'll panic and they'll come into the formula like, hey, I can't exit this trade. It's saying they won't let me get out. It's saying I don't have enough money. I can't be naked or short. And you're like, well, what are you trying to do? And then they pause for a minute or they take a screenshot and you realize like, oh, whoa, whoa, no, no, no. The one you bought, you need to sell to close. And the one you sold to open, you need to buy to close. And so that can be very confusing for people, which is why inside Power Trades University in our advanced options course, we give you these templates that say, hey, which, first of all, what's an out of the money option? What's an in the money the option? Number two, what's an out of the money put and call? So, like, we give you the templates, what's in and at out the money on both sides. But then, more importantly, we also break down which one you need to buy to open, which one you need to sell to close. So that way you have it on a piece of paper on that cheat sheet. And so when you go to execute it in your broker, you're not like making a mistake because when it's showtime, when it's time to put money to work and actually make the trade happen, a lot of times what happens is we're either just so excited or there's so many numbers that we're like, it's easy to get the numbers mixed up. That's what I'm trying to say here is that it's just so easy because of the excitement, because you're dealing with two options, let alone if you do a strategy that contains four options. You got four different options that you either have to buy to open, sell to open, or buy to close, sell to close, depending on how you're constructing the strategy. And if you mix match any of those up and do the wrong ones in the wrong order, it can totally botch the entire trade. So mismatching the order flow is one of the big mistakes I see when it comes to advanced options. And it's not really a mistake that you make when you're dealing with a single option because you're like, I just need to buy a call option. I just need to buy a put option. Kind of hard to mess that up. When you start dealing with two or more and you have to do the opposite, buy one, sell one, buy it to open, sell it to open, reverse it when you're trying to get out, sell to close the one you bought, buy back to close the one you sold, it starts to get or can get a little confusing. Now, don't let that discourage you. Again, that's why we give people the templates and the structure to do so that when they go over to their account, it's super seamless. The next mistake that we see that traders make is not knowing what they're trying to protect against. And so an advanced option strategy is a strategy that is designed to protect you, and sometimes people want to do these strategies because they sound cool, because they want to look good, but not really thinking about what are they trying to protect against. And so a lot of times we get the question, when would you use this strategy? When would you use this strategy? And my question back is, what are you trying to protect yourself against? Let me give you an example. Let's just say you're trying to protect yourself against being wrong about picking the direction of a stock, meaning like you don't want to pick a direction. And every time you pick a direction, maybe you found like every time I pick a direction, I'm either wrong about it or I'm wrong about the time frame that the stock moves in and my option expires worthless. If you're trying to protect yourself against the option expiring worthless, you're trying to protect yourself against picking the wrong direction, then we may look at a direction neutral option strategy. And not only that, we might look at a direction neutral option strategy where you get paid a credit up front. And so if you're a person that says option trades are always expiring worthless or going against me, then we might have to flip it and do a strategy where you're not picking a direction, number one. Number two, you're getting paid to take the trade, because if you're getting paid to take that trade, then the option is expiring on worthless to somebody else. So to that other person, it expired worthless, but to you, it expired as a profitable trade because you sold that trade to someone else, which would normally be you who's buying it that it expires worthless on. But you're saying, I'm going to flip it upside down, let me figure out how to sell that trade to somebody else since it's always expiring worthless on me, and let me be the one that the money is staying in my pocket. So knowing what you're trying to protect against is really important. Are you trying to protect against picking a direction? Are you trying to protect against time where the option normally always expires on you and you lose money? What are you trying to protect against? Are you trying to protect against the federal chair Jerome Powell speaking Friday? Are you trying to protect against earnings? What are you trying to protect against? And that is going to instruct us on which advanced option strategy that you should do. If you don't know what you're trying to protect yourself against, and you just come in here willy-nilly just doing an advanced option strategy, then when that event happens, you're like, oh, I like that's not what I wanted to happen, and I didn't have protection against that. But it's like, what were you trying to optimize and protect yourself against from in the first place? It's too late to think about that after the trade has gone against you. It's too late to think about that after you've already deployed the wrong advanced option strategy. So we want to be thinking about that as we go into the trade. What am I trying to protect myself against? And then aligning the correct option strategy and the correct time frame of that option strategy to your execution. The fourth one that we see mistake that we see advanced option traders make is they treat an advanced option like a directional option. This is a big one. Here's what I mean by this. When you typically are buying a directional option, you got to think about what you're saying. You are saying that number one, you believe with a high level of certainty that you know which direction a stock is getting ready to go. If you bought a call option, you said, I feel super confident that a stock is going up. That's number one. Number two, you're also saying, because options have an expiration date. You're also saying, I feel super confident that this stock is going up and it's going to go up in this amount of time. And so you have to be right twice. You have to be right that the stock is going up. You have to be right that the stock is going to go up in the amount of time. And you have to be right that it's going to go up by a certain amount that you're going to even make money. So when you really think about it, you have to be right three times. It's going up in a certain amount of time, and it's going up by a certain dollar amount. Now, if you can master, I don't think you could ever master that, but if you can get good at taking low risk, high reward trades, and those three line up for you, you can make a lot of money. And that is now the gift and the curse of an advanced option. Because when you do an advanced option, typically you are taking your profit in up front. So if you do an advanced option, you may say, I agree that I'm going to get paid $1,000. When you get paid $1,000, you can't make any more money than that. On the flip side, if you do an advanced option where you want to reduce your risk by 50%, so let's just say you put $2,000 at risk and you're like, I want to reduce my risk by 50%. So maybe you sell an out of the money option and you bring 50% of your money back home. You can't lose it, it's in your pocket. You reduce your risk. But here's the thing, you also can't make any more money past the option that you sold. And so sometimes what advanced option traders do is they love the fact that you can minimize your risk. They love the fact that you can be in a non-directional trade and the stock doesn't even have to move up or down and you still get paid. You still get to keep the money. They love the fact that the option expires worthless to somebody else, which is 100% profit to you. They love all of that until the stock goes up real big or down real big and they go, you mean to tell me I could have made 5 to 10 times as much more money? And so they start to say, that's why I don't like doing advanced options because I don't like limiting how much money I can make if I'm right, if those three scenarios line up, like I told you. You pick the right direction, you pick the right time frame, and the stock moves by the right amount of money. They hate that if those three line up, they could have made 5 to 10 times more as money. Here's the thing I'm gonna ask you as a trader. Don't just you riding in your car or you watching this YouTube video, you ain't got to tell nobody else but yourself. But I want you to think about this. How often are you right on all three of those categories? I really want you to think about it. Look back over your trading account, your trading career. How right are you on picking the direction, the time frame, and by how much the actual stock is going to move? And you can do that consistently. You are super consistent at saying, I'm good at picking the stock, the direction it's going to go, how much is going to move, and in what time frame is going to move. When you really think about it, you are probably, if you were to stack how many times you hit the home runs, and you're like, oh, had I not done an advanced option, I would have made 5 to 10 times more. When you take probably, I don't know, out of 10, 15, 20 trades, let's say 20 trades. When you take probably 20 trades and you say, how many of them would have been home runs? For most people, 17 of them would have not been home runs. 17 would have been possibly losing trades, and three would have been home runs. Here's the problem. Most people will have lost money on those 17 trades and they'll have no money left to even get to the home run trade. Now, think about if you reverse that and you were right 17 times. And then when you got to the three that you would have made a home run, you're like, it doesn't matter because I can still be right on those three. I just don't make as much money as the home run. But what's important is those 17 I was right on as well because I flipped the strategy upside down and I got paid up front or I reduced my risk by 50%. And so it's more important to be right consistently because you have more ways to be right. Think about it. If the stock goes sideways, you can still make money with advanced options. If the stock goes up, you can still make money. If the stock goes down slightly, you can still make money. You got three ways to be right when you're doing advanced options. When you're just buying a call or a put, you got one way to be right, and that stock better move in that direction. It better move in the time frame that you said it was going to move in, and it better move by the amount that you thought it was going to move in. The more that you try to pick a direction, the more wrong that you will be. So if you are a directional trader, that's why in our 5-Year Millionaire program, I say it's really designed to give you one trade a month, because the reality is it's 1 up to 4 trades a month. But the reality is you start getting past 1 to 4 trades, you're really saying, like, I can just pick the direction that a stock is going every single day. I can pick the direction that it's going, the time frame that it's going, and how much it's gonna go by. If you're really saying you could do that every single day, which I believe is a losing man's game. Like, now you're day trading, and to think you can wake up every single day or every trade that you find, you can correctly pick the direction, the time frame, and by how much it's moving. I mean, let me know. If that's you, we'd love to have you on staff. You know what I'm saying? We're always looking for good people. If that's you, we got a job for you. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to bring you in-house and let's see your always right stock picks. But I'm telling you, when you switch that and you start to move it over to advanced options, you put yourself in a position where you can be right way more often. Let's talk about the last and final trap. I call this the 10 cents plus commission trap. And so the 10 cents plus commission trap goes like this. I already told you, when you do an advanced option, you cap how much you can make, but you also cap how much you can lose, and you also increase the amount of ways that you can win or make money. So I'd rather take more ways that I can make money, and I'd rather cap my losses than to say I want unlimited potential to make money, but I only got one way to win. And I have, yeah, you got one way to, one way to win, but you got unlimited upside potential, but you only got one way to win. So I'd rather flip that and say I got three ways to win, and I got my losses capped. I think that's what I was trying to say here, is that you got one way to win. It has to go up or it has to go down if you do puts, but your losses aren't really capped. If you put 5,000 in the trade and it goes the opposite way, you lose all the 5,000. However, you could put 5,000 in a advanced option strategy, and then you can sell the other leg, meaning if you buy a call, you could sell it out on money call. You could bring back potentially 2,500 of that 5,000. And now 50% of your money is safe in your pocket. And if the trade does what you thought it was going to do, you make maybe 1,000, 2,000, depends on the numbers if we work the trade. But I would rather have my losses reduced by up to 50% and three ways to win, not six, I'm holding up two fingers, and three ways to win, than to have my losses be potentially all of my account or all of the trade. I got one way to win, but I'm so excited because I got unlimited upside. And so the 10 cent plus commission trap says, once you do an advanced option, if you make 1,000 bucks, you may get paid 1,000 up front, but you don't get to keep the 1,000 until expiration, so time runs out. And so let's just say you do this trade on a Monday, and by Friday you're going to make $1,000. And Thursday comes around and you're up $900. You're up $900. You've made 90% of the money. The 10 cent plus commission trap is, sometimes people will be like, I'm not going to close it out because what could happen on a Friday? I don't want to pay commission, and I'm trying to get that other 10%. Trying to get that other 10% and keep that other $100, and I don't want to pay the $3 commission. And I've seen this happen where on Friday, just some news comes out, something bonkers happens, and the stock market just totally reverses or goes crazy. And you went into it up 90%. You had most of the profit, most of the money, and you're trying to get that last 10 cents or that last 10%, and you didn't want to pay commission. And then you end up giving the 90% back. And then you go into the weekend saying what? The classic, I wish. I wish I would have closed it out. I should have shut it down. I should have took the profit. Let me give you another example too. Sometimes on that Friday, you may be like at an airplane to catch, and I'm going to be in the airplane from 12 to 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and the market closes at 4. And so you're like, I'm not going to be able to watch my trade, but who cares? I'm 90% profitable. What's the worst that could happen in 4 hours while I'm on the plane? Wrong, wrong way to think about it. Trust me from someone who has went all the way up into 3 o'clock with majority of my money. And I'm thinking, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to go to the gym and work out. And all of a sudden my phone starts buzzing and I'm like, what just happened? The stock market's tanking. Or I caught a plane and I got on the plane and I was up real big. By the time I got off the plane, I was like, what just happened? And so much can happen on the last day and the last hour that if you have 90% of the profit, do not fall into the 10 cents or the 10% plus commission trap where you're just trying to squeeze that last 10 cents out, that last 10% of the trade out, and you don't want to pay commission to close it out, but you leave yourself open. Exposed is the real word I want to use here. You leave yourself exposed to the risk of that stock, of the market turning around, going the exact opposite, wiping out all of your gains. And now you have zero time for it to recover because it was the last day or it was the last hour. And that was the time you thought, what's the worst that could happen? Take it from somebody who's been doing this a long time, a lot can happen. So close the trade, take the profit. It's the same reason why we sell these shirts, and that's our saying is that you never go broke taking a profit. So I hope this has been educational, inspirational, and informational for you. And if you haven't listened to the previous 2 sessions in this series, go back, listen to them. Check them out. Advanced options. I'm telling you, get in the game, learn these because they can be a game changer. And we have a full-fledged course with PDFs, templates, everything to help you understand advanced options and avoid the 5 mistakes that most advanced options traders. I'm stock market coach and option trader Jason Brown, and I'm signing off saying, you never go broke taking a profit. I'll see you on the next episode.